deep learning, artificial neural network, machine learning, bio and nature-inspired algorithms for SNS, data mining, fuzzy logic, etc. Dr. Cheruku has 28 research publications to his credit in reputed journals and conferences, both inland and abroad. Along with his research team, have mainly worked on patients' clinical databases for multi-label classification and credit scoring using family of ensembles hybridized with other machine learning tools. Dr. Ramalingaswamy Cheruku, along with his two co-authors, has three books published in his credit. Dr. Cheruku is the recipient of Venus Young Faculty Award in 2019. Now I request Dr. Ramalingaswamy sir to enlighten us with his words of wisdom. The topic of his presentation is dimensionality reduction, feature extraction, principal component analysis. Sir, please.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. So shall I continue, ma'am? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. I hope my screen is visible to all of you. Can somebody confirm from your side? Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. It is visible, sir.
And audible
Yes,
also?
sir, visible.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, sir, audible.
So, good afternoon, one and all. And so today the
Good
topic of
afternoon,
this
sir.
the discussion is the dimensionality reduction. Okay, so why should we use this dimensional reduction techniques, and under which circumference we will prefer this dimensional reduction techniques, and what are the benefits of why should we use this curse of dimension? Sometimes we call it as the curse of the dimensionality and all. So before I want to proceed, so sometimes it's a dimensionality is nothing but in our data, machine learning or data science or data mining, it's called the feature. Okay, so it's some other the another alternative ways or the synonyms for this is the feature reduction or feature transformation. Of course, the feature reduction and feature transformation altogether different. So we will come to that point later. Okay, so the moment when I'm saying is the dimensionality in the means, so it means that the feature. Okay, it's nothing but the feature reduction. Okay, the feature the reduction. So what are the techniques are available for these under this category, under this particular task? I mean, this dimensional reduction. So how can you achieve this dimensional reduction? Okay, so why should we use this dimensional reduction is also called the curse of dimensionality. Dimensionality means the feature, curse of the feature also we can call it as. Okay, so why should we go for this kind of dimensional reduction? So before you want to apply any machine learning model, so it's we can call it is a one of the pre-processing techniques. So we can call it is a one of the what you call it's a pre-processing. One second. So wait, my stylus is not working. Wait. So what happened? Wait. Sorry for the inconvenience. My stylus is what happened. Give me 1 minute. Yes, it is working. Yes, this dimensions is nothing but we sometimes we call as a feature in our machine learning or data science terminology. Right, then the cursor dimension is nothing but the feature reduction, reducing the number of the features. Okay, so and what happens when the when I don't use this cursor of the dimensional reduction, but we can say that it is one of the pre-processing step. So one of the pre-processing step. So before you want to apply any the ML models, okay. So because what we are trying to do, we are trying to process your data set before you want to feed into any the machine learning model. Right. It's one of the, we can say it is one. It comes under the one of the pre. So one of the pre-processing step. Whatever we are carrying out this dimensional reduction is one of the pre-processing step. Suppose, so what happen in general? People will think that when increasing the number of features, will always increase the performance of machine learning model. People will think that if I increase, suppose if I have a machine learning model for a diabetes with this 8 features, and suppose I'm increasing it for some certain number of features, suppose 12 or 13 features, but people will might think that, so that will definitely the data set which is having more features will increase the performance of any the machine learning model. But this is not a true. Yes, of course, but this is not true always, because when you are increasing the dimensions, so the number of features, the dimension, when you are increasing this, sometimes it may not improve the performance on par with the number of features. So that's what this plot is saying, because the performance of this the particular machine learning model is keep on increasing up to certain threshold, and suddenly it start degrading its the performance. So what could be the reason? So what could be the reason? So when I know what is the reason for this, the falling of this graph, what is the reasons for the degradation of the performance of a machine learning model? So the right side of this plot. So if you know, so that is the way why this is the reason. So we want to remove this curse the dimensions. So what could be the reason? So there could be reason there is a chance that it can have redundant features. So it can have what you call noisy features. So like that, it can have a duplicate duplicate dimension, or duplicate features. So ideally we want to remove so these kind of the dimensions, because of those noisy or redundant features. So there is a chance that the performance may degrade after certain number of features. Then how do we identify this optimal number of features? So this is the best features. I know that at this number of features, I know I got my machine learning model has got the best performance. So how do I figure it out? This optimal. That's all about today's topic. How do you figure out this? So optimal. So there are 10 features. I know that out of this, I know that how do I figure it out? Top 5 features, top 10, 7 features, top. So that's all about the dimensionality reduction. Means from the 10, we are reducing it to the 5. So this is dimensional reduction. Of course, there is a difference between the reduction and the extraction. So I will come to that point later. Okay. So what I want to convey over in the particular slide is, so it doesn't mean that when you are increasing the number of dimensions, it doesn't mean that it will increase the performance of your machine learning model. So the number of, suppose parallelly the number of the training samples requires increase exponentially with the dimension. Of course, when you are increasing the dimension, then the data set size will also increase. The dimension will also increase exponentially. So with respect to the what you call the bins. So what in this case, I don't know what is the bins. The bins is nothing but a group of the suppose there is a group of numbers are there. This group of numbers I'm representing the single group, like the centroid is one of the binning mechanism. Okay, so like so you can say that for one feature, so there is a one feature I have. So for one feature I have 3 bins. So there is a one feature. So there is for each feature I have one bin. Then so have how many what you call how many possible values I can have? The 3 to the power of 1. So it's nothing but what I mean that so. The number of features, the size of the data sample, the size of your data set will increase the proportion with the what you call the dimensions. This is where k is the dimension. It is increased k to the power of 30. So sorry, k the day is the dimension and the k is the bins are what you call the number of samples. You can say that. what is the objective? Okay, the choose an optimum set of features. That is the idea. That to choose optimum set of features. So and that usually this optimum set of feature will be the usually less usually have less number of features than the as usual. It will have the few features, a few best features than the actual data set. Okay, so we have to identify those features which will improve the performance, which will take part in the improving the performance of this particular class, your classifier or your machine learning algorithm directly. Okay, so we are interested in to find out those the features. Okay, so the different methods can be the reduce these dimensions. So we are interested to find out the optimal set of the features so that will improve the performance of your machine learning model. So under this category, so we have the feature extraction and the feature selection. So what is the feature extraction? So the feature extraction is nothing but to, to transform. Sometimes we can also call the feature transformation. Feature transformation also sometimes called. So what we are trying to do, we are trying to uh, change the dimensions. We are transforming the dimension to the new space. So with respect to that space, we are reconstructing the original database. Like suppose when you are in the coordinate geometry, you might have seen. So there is x comma y. The coordinates are that you are, so there is 0 0 origin. You are moving the origin to the x comma y coordinates. So here we are moving the origin to the x comma y. We are transforming the origin to the new coordinates x comma y. In that case, with respect to this x comma y or point, the coordinates, this is a new coordinates. This is x time. This is y. So this is x bar and y bar. Where x bar and y bar are new, the dimensions we can say. So means basically we are trying to change the feature space. We are transformed from one space to the another the space. Okay, this is called a feature transformation. Okay, then feature selection. What are the features? Here we don't have any transformation, so we have a set of features. We have a set of features. Suppose, so what we are trying to do here in case of f1, f2, f3 is there. So what you are trying to do, we are trying to know f1 dash, f2 dash, and f3 dash. Means we are transforming f1 to the f1 dash, we are transforming f2 to the f2 dash, and f3 to the f3. We are with respect to certain axis. We are transforming your the coordinates. So we are transforming your the basis axes. Okay. So but when it is feature selection, so the f1, f2, f3 will be there, but in this case I can choose the best two features like f1 or f2 or, so you are selecting a subset of features that will best that will improve the performance of your the machine learning model. Okay, the feature extraction is finds a set of new features that is through some mapping. Means if you see here in the left hand side, this is my the old coordinate system or the old basis, and this is my the new the transformed matrices. So where x and this is here it is x is transformed to the y. So there is certain mapping. So our idea is, so this is called the transformation. So what could be this? So what could be this transformative function? What could be this transformative function? So that ideally we are looking at what could be our transformative function. Okay. So through some mapping for the existing features. So what we are trying to do, we are trying to change x1 to the y1 with certain mapping. So it can be linear mapping, it can be the non-linear the mapping. So we are trying to change x2 to the y2. We are transforming x2 to the y2. So when you are transforming x2 to the y2 means you are changing these coordinates, you are changing its axes. So like in a coordinate geometry, you will transform the axis from origin, you can transform to the some other set of which will change the origin. Okay, so like that you can do the transformation over here. Okay, that's particular transformation we call it is as the feature extraction in case of the dimensional reduction. The feature selection is choosing a subset of the original features. Means there are certain features f1, f2, f3. So in this, which best two feature I so I am interested in best two features. So it can be f1 or f2 or f2 comma f3 is one. It can be, we don't know whether f1 or f3. In this, any one of this could be, any one of this subset could be. Suppose there are three. How many such subsets will be there? 3C2. The subsets will be there. Out of the 3C2 subsets, one subset will be the best performance. So what could be the best possible subset of features you are interested? That is the idea of the feature dimensional reduction. So how to find out, we will see. Right. Now, so in this case, so what we are trying to do, we are transforming to the new set of features. This is f1, F2 and F3. You are transforming into the F1 dash, F2 dash, and F3 dash. This all values of F1 dash, F2 dash, F2 dash is different, because when you are transforming the, so we are with a certain change in the basis. So you are transforming the values of F1, F2, F3 to new values F1 dash, F2 dash, F2 dash. So after transforming, you are interested in the best two features or best three features. So this is one of the one way of achieving. So after these F1, after F1 dash, F2 dash, F3 dash. So in this feature, so you can find some redundant features. You can find some you can remove this. So the F3 is redundant. So the F1 dash and F2 dash is the best two features. Okay. So we will see. So now we can classify the dimensional reduction techniques into the feature extraction and the feature selection technique. So under the feature extraction techniques, linear combinations are particularly attractive because they are simpler to compute and analytically tractable. So as mentioned, so what could be the transformation? So this transformation could be a linear transformation and non-linear transformation. But ideally, we prefer to choose a linear transformation because we can easily track and we can easily compute. So this is, suppose if there is a features there is a data set, or there is a feature set X which belongs to the n dimension. It is having n dimension. Now I want to transfer into the k dimensions. I want to transfer into the k dimensions. Means, so assume that k is less than d. The k is less than means, so from higher dimension to the k is the lower dimensional space. From where n is the higher dimensional space and k is the lower dimensional space. K is the lower dimensional space. That's the reason k is less than d. It means that, so when I'm trying to change the features which are with the features which is there, the feature which is there in some n dimensions, this is n dimensions. Now I want to transform into a set of features into a k dimension. Means I'm actually what I'm trying to, I'm transforming into the k dimensions, into the lower space, lower feature space. How can I achieve it? So you can, so if there is a function, there is a function which will map, there is a function. So by multiplying this function, by putting this, when I'm supplying this x as input to this function, or when I'm multiplying this x with certain matrix, the tree, the transformation matrix, then I can able to get this. Then that kind of, this is called the transformation matrix or the transformative function. Then how do you find out this transformative function? We will see it now. Okay. So how do you find out the particular function t? So how we are able to transform this t? So that's all about the PCA and all. Right. So here we are trying to do the transformation. So how we can perform this transformation? So we can either with the help of the function or by with the help of the matrix. Okay. How can we get that transformative matrix? We shall see soon in the coming slides. So in a mathematical point of view, finding the optimum mapping. So what is the mapping we are talking? This can be a function, it can be a matrix. Is equal to the optimizing the objective criteria. Because what is the objective? So this transformation function. What could be the idea of my transformation function? When I am transforming from the higher dimension, from n to the lower dimension k, it should not cause any data loss. It should not cause what is the objective of the criteria? There should not be any data loss, but ideally it is not possible. Hence we try to minimize the loss. So ideally it is not possible sometimes. So we can achieve, sometimes we can achieve 99% of data preserve. We can preserve the data, but sometimes what we are trying to do, hence most of the time we cannot achieve 100% of data. But since we can try to minimize this data loss, as minimum as possible, we can achieve. So how can we? So we have to choose. We have to choose a criteria function. So that minimize the loss. So that is the idea. To this end, to minimize this objective function, whether you want to retain the more information or you minimize the loss, both are same. The minimizing loss or retaining the more information is to this end. There are different methods are possible, and one such famous method is the principal component analysis. So the principal component analysis is works on the principle of minimizing the information loss. Minimizing the information loss. So represent the data as accurately as possible in the lower dimensional space. When you are transforming from the higher dimension to the lower dimensional space, we have to ensure that there should be a minimum data loss, minimum information loss. So this is the funda behind. This is the funda behind the PCA, the principal component analysis, that we are going to study soon. So there is another way we can use. We can also see. We can able to find out. We can able to find out a transformative function or an objective function that will maximize the discriminatory information. Means, so this information will allow us to discriminate the classes, to discriminate the classes. Okay. So to enhance the class to discriminate information in the lower dimension space. Either you go with the minimization problem or you go with the maximization problem as far as the objective, as far as the optimization problem is concerned. So the first problem, it's a minimization problem. So where we are trying to find the transformative function, the objective function is to try to minimize information loss. So this is the basis for the PCA, and this the second basis is the maximize discriminate information is the basis for the, any guesses? LDA, the linear discriminate. So that is, of course, that is not our today topic, but so our topic is the PCA. So hence I am going with the PCA. Okay. So because this particular problem is try to address the LDA is based on this second principle. So what is the idea of this principle? To minimize or maximize the objective function. So you have to choose an activation function. You have to choose a transformative function such that whether to minimize the loss or to maximize the discriminatory information. So like PCA and LDA. The popular linear feature extraction method is the principal component analysis seeks a projection that preserves as much of information in the data as possible. Means it preserves the much information. Means what does it mean? It will minimize the loss. It is the principle of that. Okay. The principal component analysis is one of the feature extraction technique. So as I mentioned that what is the extraction technique? Because the feature extraction technique, we will extract the new set of features by transforming new features to the old features. What is the assumption? That these new features will preserve the information from the old features, and of course, the majority of the assumption is that after transforming into the new dimensions or new space, new feature space, so we will find some unnecessary features so that we can easily discard those features, and hence we can achieve the feature reduction there. We shall see soon how the PCA will, after transforming, how we can achieve the dimensional reduction. Are you able to follow? Suppose, so there is, I am transferring, there are F1, F2, F3, F4, and transforming to F1 dash, F2 dash, F3 dash, and F4 dash. Here there is no dimensional reduction, right? It's just simply transforming F1 to F2, F2 to F3 dash, F3 to F3 dash, F4 to the F4 dash. Here 4 number of features are there, here number of features are 4. How we can achieve dimensional reduction over here? You can achieve because in this new feature space, so the majority of the features, in the most of the time, the majority of the features will be discarded due to most of the time they don't take part in improving the accuracy. I mean, in the new feature space, so you will able to find out the few features, so that will this transformed feature, this transformed new features will few features will which we will togetherly contribute to the performance of your any machine learning model, and the remaining features, the transformed features will take part very less, I mean, in the very lesser side. So hence we can ignore those kind of features. So we shall discuss all these things when you are studying about the PCA. As I mentioned, that the LDA is on the basis of the second principle, which is which will identify, which will try to maximize the transformation, which will discriminate the class information. Of course, apart from the PCA and LSA, there is another ICA and LLE. There are so many other methods which will on the basis of this, which will comes under the category of feature extraction, means the feature transformation. Now let us discuss about the principal component analysis. right? Suppose if you have so there is a, how do you represent the data in data science? We will represent in the term of vector or the rows or columns. Okay, so it is, so what you're trying to say that, say vector x can be represented by n components, means it is having n dimension. N cross 1 means it is having n dimensions and one column. It means it is having n rows, means it is having, we can say n component means it is n dimensions. So that's all it means. And assuming that the standard base, so the basis for this, what is the base vectors for this is v1, v2 and vn. So this PCA involves some sort of mathematics. Just I want to discuss those mathematics behind this. So with this mathematics, with this preliminary knowledge, so we will discuss how the intuition behind the PCA and all. Okay. Suppose this is some preliminary is required to discuss that. Okay, so assuming that there are base vectors, some basis, the standard basis like v1, v2, v3, like a vector, so dimension, like in case of x, y, z axis. Okay, like this, these are the basis. So these are the basis for any space. For because any space will have certain the basis. Okay, okay. So how many bases will be depending on the dimensionality. Okay, it's a unit vectors in each dimension. Like x is a unit vector, y is a unit vector, and z is a unit vector in the respective dimensions. And xi can be obtained by projecting x along the direction. What they are saying that, so there are this is vi, vj, and this is vz. Suppose for simplicity purpose I have taken. So what there is a point p. So there is a point, and so now they want to find there is a point x. Now I want to project this point along the direction of vi. What does it mean? It is mean by that. So I want to project. I want to find its projection in the direction of the vi. In the direction of the vi. If you want to get projection, how do you get it? How do you get it? So if you want to get it, so it is the projection of the vi, the x in the direction of the point x. In the this x will have coordinates like xi, yi, so xi and xj and xz. It is 3 coordinates because the 3 coordinates. And now I am interested to find out the projection of this point in the direction of xi is, that is called xi. The xi is nothing but the x transpose into vi and vi into v transpose and vi. So as I told you that these vi and vj, the vi and vj are the perpendicular. These are what is called orthonormal to each other. Hence, this dot product will be the one. When they are orthonormal, this dot product is 1, hence it becomes the x transpose into the vi. So we are getting its projection, just transpose the x, and in which direction you want, you multiply the dot product. So x can be reconstructed. How we can? So now similarly, you can find the projection of point x in the xi direction, vi direction, and the projection in the vj direction, in the projection in the vz direction. So once you know the projection of a point, a particular point in all the directions, in the xi and yi and the vi and vj and vz direction, you can able to reconstruct by using this formula. What this formula is saying, this is mathematics you already know, but just I want to brush it up. So what this formula is saying that, so this is a reconstruction. I want to, this is my, I want to get my original x. So what is this xi? The xi is the projection of the x in the direction of vi. And similarly, you will have, suppose if it actually our vector is having n dimensions. Okay, in simplicity purpose, I have taken 3 dimensions. If it is having n dimension, then x1 into y1 plus x2 into y2 plus xn into y1, where xn is the projection of the point x in the direction vn. How do you get it? X transpose into xn by, that's it. X transpose into vn. Right? That's the formula. This is the formula for this. So projection you can get it from this. The projection you can get it from this. Okay. Means the basis vector. What is the basis vectors? The v1, v2, v3. They are orthonormal. Remember, they are orthonormal. Hence, that is the reason because they are orthonormal. This dot product is the 1. Dot product is 1. Since the basis vector are the same for all, because it's a basis vector, it's common for all the samples which belongs to the n dimensional space, standard basis. So we typically represent them as n component vector because it is n dimensional space. The every x is represented with the n components like this. So one of the, so where x is represented as x1, x2, x3, and xn means this is a particular feature, a data sample in the n dimension where x1 is, what is the x1 role? What is the x1 mean? The x1 value is says that it is the projection in the x1 direction. What is the x2 value? It says that the projection in the x2 direction. In the similar xn, what is mean xn? The xn is, suppose there is a, I will take with in two dimensional yes, yeah, here it is there. In two dimensional space, what does it mean? And for simplicity purposes, I have taken 3, 4. What is 3 over here? What is 4? What the 3 says? The 3 says that, so the 3 says that the projection of this particular, this is the x point, the projection of x in the projection of x in the I direction. The projection of x, the projection of x in the I direction or in the x axis, in the projection of x in the x axis. What is this? This is a 3. And what is this? It is a 4. So basically, these 3 and 4 represent the projections. So what is the projection of the particular x in the x axis? 3i, and this is 4j. What is 3i? The 3i is nothing but the 3i is the projection of a particular point x in the x direction. What is the 4j? The 4j is the projection of the particular point x in the y-axis direction. These are the projections. So once I know the projections, so these are the projections, x1 and these are projections. So once I know the projection, just combine the projections to get your actual point. How to get constructed x? X is equal to 3i plus 4j. So what is the 3i plus 4j? It is nothing but 3, 4. So from this you got the projection. By summing up these projections, you can reconstruct. This is the reconstruction. This is the reconstruction. You can construct the actual point. This is how we can get the projections. From the projections, how we can get the actual point. Okay. Now let us go ahead. Vector representation. X can be represented from this projected as follows. So 3i plus 4j. Now see, so in case of principal component analysis, so there is a the feature space of n dimension, then it can be written in a linear combination of an orthogonal set of n basis vectors. So from this assumption, what we can say that, so from this, it is a linear combination. So it's a linear combination, right? 3i plus 4j and something plus. If it is a 2 dimension, we have only 1 plus. So multiple dimensions, you have more plus symbols are there. It's a linear combination. Clearly, it's the linear combination of the projections. So what is this I comma j? Linear combination of 3i plus 4j. What is I comma j? Can somebody says the I comma j or x comma, it can say 3x plus 4y is also correct. The 3x or 4y is also correct. What is x comma y? The x comma y are the basis, the actual axes, the basis. Here in case we are n equal to 2, the 2 basis vector, but in our case, if any feature, so because in this case our sample is having 2 tuple, I mean it has 2 coordinates, the coordinates have 2 values, we can say it's a 2-dimensional space. But even if your data sample something like is having n values, it means that, so this can be represented as a linear combination of the n basis vectors, the linear combination of the n basis, and these bases also orthonormal, because in this case this x comma y is also orthonormal. Okay, if it is not orthonormal, what will happen? So you cannot find out the projection, because what is the projection formula? So the denominator won't become 1. So this is the projection formula, right? So this is a projection formula. So this won't never be 1 as long as it is orthonormal. Then only this product is 1. That's the reason this orthonormal is applied over here. This is the condition. What is saying? The both are 1, and orthonormal means the size is also 1. When both are same vector, with both I comma j, it is 1, means it is find out the final dot product, and you will get the unit vector. And if it is otherwise it is 0. The PC6 approximate what's the PC tries to do, it tries to approximate X in a subspace of Rn using a new set of, try to remember, this is a new set of K features where K is further less than N basis vector of, these are new basis vector. What is the actual or basis vector? V1, V2, Vn, V1, V2, Vn. What is our new basis vector? U1, U2, Uk. So my basis vector has been changed. It means that you have transformed the basis vector from U1 to the, from U1 to the V1 and U2 to the V2 and so on, like this. This is transformation. Right? You're transformed. But what happened after transforming? Of course, in this case, the K is less than N, but sometimes K is also N. But afterwards, we will trim it out. We will ignore some of the features. We will some of the basis, new feature basis vectors, so that we can achieve this dimensional reduction. So this transformation, how this transformation? So it's kind of a transfer. We are transforming your new features, the new features which are in this basis to these bases. So these new bases are called the principal components. These new bases are called the principal components. Right? It means that the K is, in this case you have a K, the principal components. The question is, how this transformation will take place? The question, now we know that these are principal components. So once I know, yes, once I know these basis vectors, how can I get it my value? How can I get it my, how can I reconstruct my data sample? Can anybody? Just now I explain. How can I reconstruct it? So you can reconstruct it. Right. You see, these are new bases, right? Now there is a point, maybe here I think explain. So how can I reconstruct? These are new bases like U1, U2 and UK. So how can I reconstruct it? So there is a point X and there is a point X. How can I? So X1 into the actual X is equal to X1 into the X1. This could be some X bar, you can say this is X bar, and the actually it is X. The actually X in this new dimension. I think some notice here I consider, so Y, so this is called a Y. This X, the X is being transformed to the Y and the V is being transformed to the U, and this U is called the principal component. U is called the principal component. How can I? So these are principal components are the new basis, the new basis for your, these principal component, the new basis for your new feature space. Hence, we can say that how can you reconstruct? These are the basis. Like in this case, V1, V2. What are these? The basis, and it's the projection values. Right? These are the projection values. Y1, Y2, Y2. This is a projection. Together is a projection in the basis and the U1 direction. This is the basis in the projection in the U2 direction. The projection together is a projection in the UK direction. Okay. This is. X is transformed, this is X, and this is not exactly equal to the X because it is consisting of K dimensions. If it is consisting exactly N dimension, then this becomes the X is equal to X bar. The same thing, such that what is our idea? So we want to approximate this X and X bar should be almost all equal. We want to approximate, means you have to minimize this X minus X bar. So when K is equal to N, what will happen, Nana? When K is equal to N, when K is equal to N, what will happen? When in this case, when a PCS approximate X in subspace, where the subspace is also having N features, N basis vector, then what will happen? This X becomes X bar. It means X. It means that the X minus X bar is equal to 0. Now, so this is the idea. So how we can get this transformation in the case of PCO. So the actual basis, the V1, V2, Vn is being transformed to the a set of new basis called the principal components. Then how can we do this transformation? So this transformation we can do by systematic approach. So we shall discuss in mathematical how we can achieve the transformation. So this we can achieve by finding the eigenvectors. The eigenvectors, and so if you want to get the eigenvectors, first you have to find out the covariance matrix of your data set. And also one more thing I want to mention, that in this training data set, this data should be normalized. Normalized in such a way that its mean should be 0 and spread should be 1, like normal distribution. So the data should fix in a normal distribution, means that its mean should be 0. It's very, very important. If you want to apply principal component analysis, the data should be transformed into a zero mean data, means that the mean of a particular data should be 0. It's very, very important. You have to normalize your data, right? So once you normalize your data into the zero mean data, then you can find out its covariance matrix. How can you find out? So there are features, or 3 features, F1, F2, F3 are there, and F1, F2, F3 are there. You can find out the correlation between the F1 and F2 using the covariance formula, and you can find out the F1 and F2. You will get somewhere. Say 3 by 3. So there are n dimensions. It is n cross the n matrix. So where the diagonal elements will say the variance of the feature, because F1, the correlation between the F1 to F1 means it's a variance. And what is the variance between F1 and F2? The correlation between F1 and F2. So how do you find out? So you have to find out this mean, and you have to subtract the mean from every point. That I know that everybody already know how to find out this covariance matrix. How to find out this covariance of a. So there is a covariance of x comma y feature. How do you find out? Summation of over x minus x bar into y minus the y bar by n minus 1, where n minus is the data samples, and x bar is the mean of the feature x, and y bar is the mean of y. So suppose the covariance of x comma x, what will happen? Summation of x minus x bar and x minus x bar by n minus 1. So this way you can use this formula. You can use it, find out the covariance between the 2 features. Okay, so this is the covariance matrix. So the covariance dimension of the covariance matrix will be, the dimension of the covariance matrix will be n cross n. Suppose n cross n. So in our actual space, so it is having n features. In our actual data, it is having n features. Hence, it is a n cross n. It is having n features. So I can say, so this sigma f is a covariance matrix. What's the dimension? So dimension is, yes, dimension is n cross n. So you will have n cross n, the covariance matrix. This is called as sigma x. Then what is the ui? So once you find out the covariance matrix, so there is a covariance matrix, you can find out the eigenvectors. So how to find the eigenvectors? So there is a matrix A. To find out the eigenvector, A minus the lambda I should be is equal to A. So that of A minus lambda I should be is equal to 0. So you can, so when A minus lambda is equal, its det is also will 0. So you will get some characteristic equation by solving this characteristic equation. So you will get lambda 1, lambda 2, and up to lambda n. And this lambda 1, lambda 2 are called the eigen values. So once you substitute these eigen values in this characteristic equation, you will get the vectors. So these eigen vectors are called the principal components, are the new basis for your feature space. Right. Now, so choose k the largest out of n. Choose k largest eigenvectors, where u is the line corresponding to the k largest eigenvalues. So the k largest eigenvectors will act as the k basis function and k principal components. So these are the the new basis or the new principle comes from the optimal basis, and these are the new feature. These are new basis, not the new features. These are new feature basis. So how do you get the new features? How do you get the new transformed features? Just multiply it with the multiply the actual data points. When you multiply the data points with the new basis, you will get the new transformed. Okay, that will shall see soon. So this is some of the steps. First, you have to compute the sample mean, means the mean of each and every feature. Then subtract it from the each and every point. So then you will get the. So once you get, you can find out the covariance matrix. So once you get step 2, you can find out the after step 2, you can find out the covariance of simple covariance matrix sigma x. Once you get this covariance matrix, you can solve. You can get it. You can solve it this covariance matrix for the eigenvectors. Once you get the eigenvectors, you can select the top 5, the top k eigenvectors in the once you arrange in a descending order, you have to pick up the top best. How do you choose the top 5 or top 4? So it's based on some threshold. We shall see how we can decide this threshold and all. So this is a characteristic equation. This is your covariance matrix, and this formula. So you used this characteristic equation is used to find out the eigenvectors. So what eigenvalues? So once you get the eigenvalues, I'm assuming that they are arranged in the descending order. I'm assuming that the eigenvalues are arranging after finding out the n eigenvalues, they are arranged in the descending order, and these so means definitely when you are arranging the descending order, the vector which corresponds to lambda 1 is the one of the eigenvector, and this is for every value you will corresponding one eigenvector also there, and so these eigenvectors will be your new orthonormal basis, the new orthonormal basis in the transformed space. Whether so the no orthonormal, but out of these n we will select only top k. Of course, actually it is orthonormal basis, n orthonormal basis, but out of these n orthonormal, we are interested to choose only a few set of k. The few after arranging in as a descending order, we are interested to select only the top k orthonormal basis. So this is yes. So now the last step I mentioned, how, as I mentioned that f1, f2, there are 3 features, and I'm transforming to f1 dash, f2 dash, and f3 dash. But we are doing some kind of transformation, but there is no dimensional reduction step. The dimensional reduction is how we can achieve. So once you approximate the x using first k eigenvectors, how? So first you have to identify the k eigenvectors, arrange them in a eigenvalues. You have to find out. You have to arrange them in the descending order, and once you get the corresponding the eigenvectors. So once you get those eigenvectors, the top 5 eigenvectors, the top k eigenvectors will be chosen based on certain criteria. Hence, out of n we are choosing k, where k is less than n. So out of n we are choosing k, top k. Hence, we can do the dimensional reduction at this step. So that's very, very important. Now the question is then how do we get the transformed features? Now, so this my feature is x. Now this is my x, and this is y. This is new data set, and this is my actual data set. So now you have to transform it. So how do you get this transformed? So if you want to get this transform, so you have to multiply this some matrix. So what could be this matrix? So this matrix, what could be this matrix? So how do you get this? So not this. So you have to multiply with certain matrix. So with this actual data, so this matrix is called transformative matrix. So how do you get this matrix? So this matrix is each column in this matrix is eigenvector. So what is this? Eigenvector 1, eigenvector 2, eigenvector 3. So this is the eigenvector corresponds to lambda 1, eigenvector corresponds to lambda 2, again like this. So if there are k lambda vectors and the k lambda vectors, then it is n cross. So there is your data sample is some k cross k. Suppose that your data sample is d. So d cross k. This is d cross So this is D cross the K means, so you have to do the dot product, means the each row should be multiplied with the eigenvector, and each row multiplied as a vector. Means now you understand that. So that your actual data should be multiplied by a transformative matrix to get transformed into the new feature space. So what could be this transformative matrix? In this transformative matrix, the each column is the eigenvector. This some mathematics is irrelevant to this topic. Yes. Yes, yes. Now the PCA chooses the eigenvectors of the covariance matrix corresponding to the largest eigenvalues, top K eigenvalues. The eigenvalues correspond to the variance of the data along the eigenvector direction. What these eigenvalues are saying, these eigenvalues are means that, so these eigenvectors are lie in the direction in the direction where the data variance is more. It means that, okay. It means that the eigenvalues that correspond to the variance of the data along the eigenvector directions. It means that, so this eigenvector typically in the regions where the data variance is more, in the direction this eigenvector will be the lie, okay. So therefore the PCA projects the data along the direction where the data varies most. That's the mentioned thing. Therefore the PCA projects the data along the direction where the data varies the most. In which direction? In which direction the data, the variation is more, in the direction, so it will keep its principal components to minimize this variation. The PCA preserves as much of information in the data by preserving the much variance in the data. How can we ensure that this PCA will minimize the loss or preserve the data? It will preserve the variance. It will preserve the maximum variance in the data. Hence, we can say that it is preserving the actual data. You see, so it means these are two principal components. There are two principal components, U1 and U2. So, and these principal components are orthonormal. It's very, very important. They are orthonormal because they are new. They are basis for. They are actually basis in the new transformative feature space. The U1 is the direction of this. So this U1, the direction of this U1 is in the data points in which the data variation is more. In the direction this particular principal component will lie, and this next principal component will lie in the next maximum variance, and like this it will arrange all these principal components. How many principal components will be there? So depending on you, but actually there will be n principal components. Out of these n principal components, you will choose the pair principal components. That's why we can achieve the dimensional reduction. So now let us solve. Now let us solve one problem on basis of this. The computer PCA using following data set. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 data samples are there. It is 8 cross 2. It is each having the 2 sample. Now how do you get? First you have to get the mean vector. You have to get the mean of, so if this is x and y, you have to get the x bar and the y bar value. You have to get the mean. Then how do you find out? This is the mean of x and this is the mean of y. Just subtract mean of x and mean of the y. Like this, you can find it out the variance. Okay. So once you get this mean, you can find it out the covariance matrix. So the covariance matrix. Once you get the covariance matrix from this means, so first you have to get the mean of the x and mean of the y. This mean x and you have to do x minus x bar, means this mean you have to subtract from each and every point. Okay. Then once you do that, you can get the covariance matrix very easily, because this is x minus x bar and this is y minus y bar. So this process, so to get this is the covariance, but to get this we are subtracting x bar from x and y bar from y. Okay, like this to get covariance matrix, or you can calculate directly if you know. So once you get this covariance matrix, how do you get the projection? This is sigma x. How do you get lambda eigenvalues? Sigma of ui into lambda I into, this is the characteristic equation. So from this you can get the eigenvectors. So how do you get it? So sigma x minus lambda I, delta of this should be is equal to 0. By solving this equation, you will get so the eigenvector can be computed by finding the roots of the characteristic polynomial. So this det should be 0, and you can solve it. Then lambda values. So as it is having 2 dimensions data points, it will have two lambda values and 2 lambda values, and arrange them in ascending order. So lambda 1 greater than lambda 2, its value is 9.34 and it is 0.4. You have to arrange them in the descending order. Because So once you arrange in descending order lambda comma lambda, you have to get its corresponding eigenvectors. What are the corresponding eigenvectors? The corresponding eigenvectors are these. This corresponds to the lambda 1 and this corresponds to the lambda 2. Now, how do you get your actual data? So your actual data is 1 comma 2. Just you have to multiply with the 0.81 into 0.59 minus 0.59 into 0.81. So this is 1 cross 2 and this is 2 cross 2. Then you will get a 1 cross 2. You will get a new the sample. How do you get? Just 0.81 plus the first row into first column, you will get one sample and you will get another sample. Means this is your actual data point. This is actual data point. So this actual data point is multiplied with a transformative matrix. What is this? A transformative matrix? This transformative matrix is the each column will contain the eigenvector eigenvalues. Lambda 1, lambda. So this is you can transform into the new feature space. Suppose if I don't want interested in all the here, of course you have two features. Here I don't want to keep those two principal components. So this is one principal component. This is another principal component. Yes, this is one principal component. This is another principal component. If I suppose I don't want to keep these two principal components, this is PC1 and PC2. I ignore PC2. Then what could be your so this is 1 comma 2 and this is 0.81 into 0.59. Now it will transform into, once you multiply, you will get a new data set. Or this is transformer data set. This is your old data set. So try to remember your old data set is being transformed new data set by multiplying with the transformative matrix. How this transformative matrix is achieved? By with the help of the covariance matrix. So if you see visually how it look like. If you see visually what it is, so this is my V1, this is my V1 and this is my V2. If you see the direction of this V1 and the V2, of course they are orthonormal. So this direction of the first V1 is in the direction in which the maximum variance is there. In the data points in which direction the maximum variance is there. So this V1 is falling that. Then next, and V2 will of course the perpendicular to the V1 and the 2 in the direction in which it is a maximum next maximum variance. So if you see, so what could be the can anybody say what could be the origin for the basis? Anybody says, so what could be the origin? So of course these are my actual data points. So these are my actual data points. So this is my origin. This is my origin, x1 and x2. For x1, x2, what is the origin? So these are bases, x1 and x2 basis, the origin is this. What could be a new origin? So this is your new origin, so v1 comma v2. For this v1 and v2, the x1 is being transferred to y1, x2 is being transferred to y2, but in the different, so it has some origin, right? From this origin, these two. So what could be this origin, new origin? Can anybody says? What could be this new origin? So the new origin is the mean vector. So go and check it. What is the mean of this? So what is the mean of these data points? So this mean of the data points is the new origin for this basis. Go and check it. The mean vector, the mean, whatever the mean of your data, that is your new origin for your the transformed matrix, the transformed basis. So K is typically chosen based on how much information is preserved, how much information is preserved in terms of the variance we want to preserve. Choose the smallest K that satisfies the following inequality. So what is this? This is total variance, and suppose, and this is how much for which, for how many Ks. So suppose if this T is 0.9, I want to preserve 90% of variance. For which K this inequality holds, so that is the best K you want. Suppose you want to K preserve 100%, this K should be N. Out of N, how many K components should be taken, whichever is satisfying this inequality. So suppose if T is equal to 0.9, it means that I want to preserve 90% of my variance, 90% of information or 90% of variance in the data. So for which k value this inequality holds, that is the best k value for your data set. Like if k is equal, then we can preserve 100% inference. There is no change in the basis, right? Of course, because there is no change in the basis. So this reconstruction and all stuff I already discussed. By using the projections, we can reconstruct it. So these are the new bases. What are the new bases? These new bases are the principal components. These are the projection in their respective directions. This I already mentioned. So data should always be normalized prior to the PCA using you have to normalize using what you call zero mean or normalize. You're supposed to satisfy the normal distribution. Right. So you can, by using, this is one of the Z normalization, you can use this kind of normalization also, but you have to normalize your data. So there are some of the application where we can use this the PCA and any principle, what you call any dimensional reduction technique. You try to remember that. So in PCA, we will do the first data feature transformation. First, we will do the feature transformation. So once you done the feature transformation, by using this inequality, we can achieve the reduction, dimensionality reduction, k for k value. We are searching for the k value. I hope it is understood by everyone. And so let me walk through the practice, some case, some sample code related to the what you call the principal component and diabetes dataset. Just I want to touch upon what is this. So this is the feature selection is different. Okay, feature selection it means in the case of feature selection, so you will select subset of feature, but the feature selection is different and feature extraction is different, because there are set of features. There is no feature transformation in the feature selection. So there are 10 features. Out of 10, which 5 features are best? That is your duty. Okay, so there is no transformation. Okay, so there are some of the techniques are available. Sequential forward, sequential backward selection, add L features and remove R features, and bidirectional floating set. There are so many variety of techniques are available even for using the feature selection. Okay. These I am not going to discuss. Just I want to discuss about the PCA, Python code of the PCA. Then I will stop my session. Yes, Google. So here I will explain how the PCA works with respect to. I will take one data set and I will explain how the PCA works and its relevant code. So first we will, as we know that first everybody has to import the relevant NumPy and the pandas, and for drawing the plots you can import the matplotlib. And once you import the required libraries, so what I'm trying to do in the next, I'm trying to import the data set. So from my local drive, so I'm choosing my data set. I'm using PMind and diabetes data set for my problem. So go to the downloads. So diabetes. So I'm trying to listen my. So I'm trying to export my whatever the diabetes data set to the Google Drive. So the data set I'm exporting into the Google Drive, and once I'm exporting, I'm importing into the my data frame. So wait. So it is saved as something else. Now it will work. Yes, it imported success. Now the data is, now I have data whichever I exported to my Google Drive. Now I imported into my data frame. So this is some by using. I am trying to display some few records of my data. It is having 8 features. It's a diabetes test. It is 8 features and one class label. Okay, the class label is binary 1 or 0. Okay, and so just I want to print what are the column values and so what are the column values, and the outcome is the your class label, and remaining all are the features related to the diabetes, type 2 diabetes. And I want to get the what is what is the size of your data set. My data set is having 768 records, and it is having the 9 in that 8 are features, one is the class label. So now I have to separate my class label and my features separately. Okay. So now I can find out by using the correlation function which is available in the NumPy or pandas. So we can find out the correlation matrix directly. Okay, this is the form how we can find out the correlation between all the features. Okay. So once I'm exploring the features, just I'm putting in some graphical representation. This is the code relevant. So which will display my the same table. So I kept in a table in some graphical representation by normalizing the 0 to 1. Okay. So this is, if you see the correlations in the diagonal are 1 because they are independent. Okay, they are not relevant to each other. Their correlation is 1 means they are independent. Okay, of course every feature is independent. Now in order to carry principal component analysis, so what we are trying to do now, we are separating the class label with the data. So for this, what I'm trying to do. So here I'm trying to first list out what are the class labels are there. Okay, and features. So the class label is the outcome. So what I'm trying to do, so I'm trying to shift the outcome to the very beginning. So now in the beginning you will have the outcome. So now you can separate the class label. So the X will have the features, and the Y will have the Y array will have the class label. So this the X in this case, if you see, the X will have all the features, and the Y will have the class label information. So that's why it is class label. Now now I'm trying to check what is the size of my X matrix, the X array. So it is a 2-dimensional matrix and 768 record and 8 features, right? And what is my size? Of course, the 768 record, only one column will be there, because by this way, like this, I am separating my class labels and the data, the features. So once I'm finding separating, then I'm transforming my data. What is the X? So this is my, whatever the X is there. So this I am transforming to the normalization. I am trying to do the normalize. As I mentioned that in order to perform the PCA, you have to do the data transfer, data normalization. Okay? So this process I'm carrying over here. This is by using it will do the normal. It will the mean of this particular standard normalization is the 1. Its mean is 0 and standard deviation is 1. So normal, I applied normal distribution over here. Okay, this is the sample data points which are there in your after normalized your data set. Okay. Next, this is not then what I'm trying to do next, I'm trying to figure out the covariance matrix. So this covariant matrix I'm getting using once I will find out the mean vector, the x minus x bar and y minus y bar, I am doing the dot product, and by the size of the n by n minus 1. So that way you will get the covariance matrix 1 by n minus 1. The summation over this dot product will give the summation. It will take the summation. So like this we can get the covariance matrix. Once we will get the covariance matrix, and suppose if you want to display, you can. So once you get the covariance matrix, you can the same thing. This covariance matrix I kept in a graphical representation for easy understanding, and of course I normalized to the between 0 and 1. Okay, so 1 means they are independent. So once I get this covariance matrix, so now I am trying to find out from this covariance matrix I am trying to find out the eigenvectors. So for to find out the eigenvectors, there is a in NumPy there is inbuilt functions are there. This NumPy, with the help of this NumPy we can able to find out the eigenvectors very easily. So if you see, so what is I got eigenvalues and eigenvectors. So if you see, so what are the eigenvalues and eigenvectors? If you see what is my eigenvalues, eigenvalues if I say, you see, so in this case the eigenvalues are already sorted. The eigenvalues are already arranged in the descending order, and the respect to the corresponding eigenvectors we will take. So it means in the what is the dimension of the eigenvalues? It is 8, which I get. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So that's what it means. So from this actual the 8-dimensional space, from 8 features you have transformed. So you got a covariance matter of 8 cross 8, and from this you got 8 eigenvalues, and these eigenvalues are, once you arrange in a descending order, the corresponding eigenvectors will be, you will get corresponding eigenvectors. Those corresponding eigenvectors, whatever shown here, will act as a 8 principal component. But usually I don't want all the principal components, because if I use all the principal components, what is the use of, because there is no data, there is no dimensional reduction at all, so it has no advantage. Hence, so now we will use the whatever the formula I mentioned in that, by using that the covariance formula or whatever, by using this, there can be by using the threshold criteria, whatever I mentioned there. Yes, so this particular threshold criteria we can make use for finding out the k value. What is the k optimal k components which is suitable for your data set. Okay. So now that's it is carried out over here. So what is doing? So in order to do what you are trying to do, we are finding the total variance. So here I am putting one diagram. What this diagram is saying? So what this diagram is saying, that out of total variance, the principal component is contributing. It is contributing nearly 30%, and the principal component 1 is contributing nearly to 20%, and principal component 3 is contributing nearly how much it is, nearly 15%, and like this. It means what is the contribution? There is 100% of variance is there. So what is the contribution of each and every principal component? So we can say that the last 6 and 7 are the last 7. The last 7 is contributing towards the variance only 5%. So 5% is contributing, means the 1 to up to 6, the first 6 principal components are contributing nearly 95%, and only the principal component alone 7 is contributing 5%. Hence we can ignore it, or if you want to ignore, you can ignore both 6 and 7. But in that case, so what will happen? You will preserve how much? 88% of variance will be preserved if you consider the first 6 principal component. If you consider first 7 principal components starting from 0 to 6, you can preserve up to nearly 95% of information from your actual data. So like this, by looking at this plot, you can choose which component we can ignore. Suppose if I want to ignore the 7th component, you can have to consider first all these components. So this way we can use it for finding out the suppose in this case I have ignored only the principal component 1. Suppose if I am assuming that I am interested to only 50%, I am interested to only preserve the only 50% of information. In that case, the first 2 components are sufficient. So I can ignore principal component 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. 6 and so. In that case, so once I get this matrix, this transformative matrix, you can transform. How do you get this transform? From your actual. So from you have to get from your actual matrix, from your actual data points, you have to multiply your actual data points with the which one? Eigenvectors. You have to multiply your data points with the multiply your data points with the, what you call, data points with the eigenvector, this transformative matrix. What is, this is my transformative matrix. This matrix W. What is transformative matrix contains? Only eigenvectors. If you see eigenvectors, so these eigenvectors, if you multiply like T into W, when you do the dot product with this matrix, this is transformative matrix with respect to the your normalized data, your actual data. So this is your the transformed data, which consists of 768 records. If you see, if I try 768 records and 2 principal components. But these 2 principal components will preserve the 50% of information, because I'm here for simplicity purpose. I have taken 50%. It is enough to preserve 50% information. If you want to preserve 50% information, you have to take first 2 principal components. That is sufficient. Otherwise, if you want to preserve 90% of information, you have to take the first 6 principal components. So this is how we can use the principal component. So first, for the dimensional reduction, and first the PCA will does the first it does the transformation. First it will transform the data. Transform the data. Once it transform the data, it will once it transform the data, it will pick up the first. It will transform. It will pick up the best K features by using that what you call variance ratio criteria, like how much variance you want to preserve, whether 90% at or 80% or 50%. So based on that, you can choose the optimal K value. So that will be your best principal components. So once you get the principal components, just multiply these principal components with the actual data. So you will get the transformed data like 768 cross 2. So this is your transformed data. So this data, whatever the data is, differ from your actual data set. So this is your transformed data set. This transformed data set will have 768 records, but 2 columns, and all the values will be different. Okay? Because you have transformed it to the new basis. So what is the origin for new basis? The origin for this new basis is your mean of your data. Mean of this data. So with this, I'm winding up my sessions. If you have any queries, you can. If you have any queries as far as the PCA is concerned, I mean, I didn't get time to discuss what are the features in selection. The feature selection is nothing. I mean, just there is no transformation. You are selecting out of 10 features. You are interested to select 5 features or 4. There is no transformation in the feature values. But where in the case of PCA, you will have both the transformation and the selection, of course. And one important thing is PCA. If you want to apply the PCA, you have to normalize your data 0. That is another important thing you have to remember.
Hello. Hello. Good afternoon, sir.
Yes.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. My question is, in this PCA, we are going to feature selection process with their covariance is very high and they are orthogonal to each other.
So yes, sir. Yes, we are. Yes.
Now, if we go in this context of word embeddings, like feature extraction for better way, can you say something which are the better option and why?
Word embeddings. So your question is, can we apply the PCA for word embeddings? Am I right, sir?
Yeah.
So first you have to transform the data into numeric data. So first, if you want to apply the PCA, first you have to transform your data into the numeric data. That you can do it by one hot encoding and some other data pre-processing text. You can convert the once data. So once you convert the data into the numeric data, and you can transform your new basis. You can transform the basis into you can transform your basis. So these the new basis, the new new coordinates and new basis will be lies in the direction of the where the maximum variance will be there, where the maximum variation in the data will be there. So that's how the PCA works. So
Yeah.
but it depends on how the data is there, okay? How the data will be there.
We talk about sequential selection.
Sequential selection. So that is feature selection. You are talking about the PCA is different, and this is a feature transformation, sir. Where you are talking about sequential selection, where you are talking. So what I am taking every time, it's a greedy approach. Every time I will take one feature, so I will put it in my basket. So whether these two features improve my performance of a machine learning model or not. If it is not satisfied, then I will take another feature, then I will add it to my feature subset. So like this, you can every time you will pick up one. So that's a sequential approach. It's a greedy approach you will follow for feature selection. So that is different, and the PCA is a different. Okay, the PCA you will do the feature transformation. Once you do the feature transformation in this new feature space, so you have to decide whether how much information you want to preserve from your original data. Whether you want to preserve the 90%. So accordingly, you have to choose the components. Okay, that's why how the principal component works. Okay. We will do the transformation. After doing the transformation, we will decide how much information you want to preserve. Now, but feature selection is altogether different. I said that there is no transformation at all. So what are the, maybe I didn't spend enough time on that, but you can. It's a greedy approach. You simply follow the greedy approach to pick up every time one feature and add it into your basket and check whether these two features contribute improve the performance. Like every time you pick up the new the feature based on certain criteria. So based on certain criteria, you will pick up that greedy criteria. You can pick up one feature and you can add into the basket a feature subset, and you will perform on your machine learning model whether together they are giving good accuracy or not, performing better or not. So like this, you will go with the sequential approach. So you will start with the null set and you will end up with some subset. That is the sequential selection. Or you can use in backward, like you will start with the entire data set. Every time you will remove one data. So that way you can use backward approach also. Either way is possible.
So embeddings are applied only for feature extraction?
Word embeddings. Yes.
Yeah.
So both feature extraction and feature selection. Working is the feature selection, feature extraction, feature selection, both are used for dimensional reduction. This is choice is yours whether you want to use the PCA or LDA means, but the basic principle is different. Okay, it will transform, then it will select, but in this case it will there is no transformation at all. So that way both are in different approaches. Okay. So you can use either of the approach. We cannot say, sir, especially in machine learning or data science or soft computing, unless until we experiment, we cannot. There is no generalized algorithm which solves all kind of problems. It's specific to the data set, specific to the problem. Okay. So as long as you experiment, we cannot comment anything about a particular model.
Okay.
So, but major we can talk majority. Okay? We will experiment on majority of the data sets. We can generalize it, but there is no generalized algorithm. Which is solves all kind of problems. So you have to experiment. Okay.
Okay.
It's called no-free-lunch theorem. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, any more questions?
Thank you very much, sir. This is Padmavati, HOD Computer Science, BIT Durg. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation and giving the wonderful lecture, because principal component analysis is an important concept, because you cannot use all the features sometimes.
Yes,
you don't require actually all the features to be included. So in that case, what are the important features through which we can design the model in the same efficiency, with the same efficiency? That is the main concept of this one.
And I will share that Python code as well. So along with my PPT, those who want to pursue, you can go.
Sir, please send that code file and the PPT both.
Yes, definitely. I will share both my Python code as well as PCA.
Yes,
so they can as well already they can plug in any data. They can plug in any data set. So I designed the code such a way that they can plug in any data set. Okay. So just download the data set, upload the data set into the file, and then it will work. for all
Okay.
candidates.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you, Ramalinga sir, very much. Thank you for such an informative and detailed description of the principal component analysis. So, thank you all of you to attend this wonderful presentation. Our expert is from IIT Warangal, and our expert has explained us in quite details how to perform feature transformation using PCA. I will, so we will wrap up here now, and we will meet at 3 p.m. for session 12. The topic will be National Education Policy 2020. So I will request all the participants to be present in the session. Please join 10 minutes before 3 o'clock, that is 2:50 p.m. Because
Because the speaker will be director from AICTE, so please be 5 minutes earlier to the scheduled time.
yes, so I will request all the participants to be there before around 2:50 p.m. So we will all meet at 2:50 p.m. Thank you so much. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ramalinga Swami, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ramalinga Swami sir. Thank you so much.